Hi, in this video I'm gonna show you how actually we can use the USB STDIO serial output from the Raspberry Pi Pico to the terminal. So what we have do is we have actually from the Raspberry Pi Pico itself, it has its own USB UART to display the data on the serial output. What we're gonna do is send our data, which is basically just a STDIO H library, basically a message string towards the UART configuration. You can see from here is we have to enable our library here on the stdio.h. The next thing is on the main or in any other function we have to can set up our stdio init all. Then we can use the printf here, which is basically just to let on and let off. Okay, then we set this is just the GPIO output. So to enable it, we have a library, like I mentioned just now, stdio.h. Then we can enable a printf LED on. And another thing is, don't forget we have on a CMake list. We have to enable this is our CMake list basically for the GPIO. We have a CMake minimum required version 3.13. Then all the C standard requirement. Then if you window 2 and all the environment path. The next thing is this is the project Bring Simple CCXS and assembly. Then we initialize the Pico-SDK. Add executable as the Blink Simple.c. If you have a lot of executable file, for example, we have a main.c and so on and so on. So everything is included here. Targeting libraries will be the library itself and Pico-SDK lib. So what we add on here is for enable USB printf is the Pico enable STDIO USB Blink Simple 1. So this here we can put it here to enable our UART data to send over. Then we have a Pico enable STD UART, Blink Simple set it as 0. In USB UART we have to enable it for the project, this current project, which is Blink Simple. Then we just add our UF2 file for add extra output for Blink Simple. Let me show you again because I already tested here before. Let me delete this build file. Then I show you again how I able to build it. So let's say I'm going to delete this build file. So I already deleted the build file. The next thing is I'm going to go to compile. So this is building a new fresh build file here. Okay, done with the build file. You can see this the blinksimple.uf2 file, which is the bootloader file here that we needed to load to our Raspberry Pi Pico. So the next thing is you have to hold your boot cell button and plug in the USB. This will boot up the Raspberry Pi Pico. This is the current folder here. So the next thing is you just drag your UF2 file. You just have to drag your UF2 file here. Yeah. This will boot the Raspberry Pi Pico. Okay. So the next thing is you go your serial out terminal, which is Terraterm, the one I'm using, and we go to COM18. Okay, then you can see it printing out the LED on and LED on and off and so on in the respective power rate. And yeah guys, that's it. I just want to show you guys how you can printf your data to your serial output, basically a string or anything else. And yeah guys, that's it. Thanks guys for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.